Welcome to Van Life with Steve, and thank you for joining me for a visit to Custer State Park, located in the Black Hills of South Dakota. We're going to start things off with a visit to some prairie dogs. If you hadn't seen my Badlands video, these guys are absolutely adorable. They're a form of a ground squirrel, and their little chirps are just so cute and so funny. Now, these guys have really sophisticated social networks and very elaborate communication abilities to the point that they can distinguish between different humans and communicate amongst each other about different humans. So they'll be like, hey, look at that guy in the red shirt. I think he'll give us something. Or, hey, look at that crazy tourist with a camera. Or, hey, look at that weird looking dude with a van. So yeah, these guys are adorable. I certainly encourage you to check out any prairie dog towns you come across, and also when you drive around, try not to drive too fast so you make sure you don't run over one of those little guys. So we're going to get started with the wildlife loop. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that I didn't see any bison on it, but we will take this as an opportunity to kind of go through a quick review of George Custer, who is the namesake of the park. We'll go over his life. So George Custer led a very interesting life. He was born in 1839 in Ohio, and he actually graduated in the bottom of his class at West Point in 1861, but because the Civil War was just beginning, trained officers were in immediate demand, so that's how his military career began, and he had a very decorated service in the Civil War, and he eventually became promoted to Brigadier General of Volunteers at only age 23. He fought in the Battle of Gettysburg, and he was also present at Lee's surrender to Grant at Appomattox. Custer was eventually appointed as a lieutenant colonel in the regular army of the 7th Cavalry Regiment, and he was part of an expedition against the Cheyenne Indians. He eventually was sent to Dakota Territory to protect a railroad against the Lakota, and there he led an expedition into the Black Hills and announced the discovery of gold, which triggered a gold rush to the Black Hills, and that led to the formation of towns such as Deadwood. And so that's his mark on the area, and that's why Custer State Park is named after him. Eventually, President Grant and the Grant administration, they wanted possession of the Black Hills, and so they were directed to basically round up the Native Americans or the Indians and transfer them to reservations. And so as part of that assignment, of course, the Native Americans resisted, and that led to the Battle of Little Bighorn, which is a disaster for the U.S. Army, and where Custer and his direct reports were all slaughtered. Here's a quick shot of a pronghorn antelope. This guy was pretty cool looking. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed I didn't see any bison on this trip. You're not going to see me driving on the Needles Highway. Here are these burros or donkeys, and these guys are liars. Seems like they bum a lot of food from tourists, but they were kind of fun to see, even though I think they're dishonest. You got one right there, bumming food. Continuing to drive around the park, I was really struck or impressed with the hills, the Black Hills. They're really amazing to look at, and it just was so great to come out here and get in touch with nature. And I really enjoyed driving around here. Again, disappointing I didn't see the bison. And with the Needles Highway, in hindsight, I probably should have went and rented one of those ATVs or what have you. Having the van, that made me a little nervous. I could probably fit through some of the tunnels, but if I was to go back, I would just rather rent one of those ATVs. we'll end things here with a view of this lake. And with that, I'm headed off to the next adventure. I want to thank you so much for watching this episode. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.